Well, good morning. It's August 5th, 2024. My name is Kurt, and this is my Good Life meditation. Haven't done this in a while. I stopped making these videos after I took apart my office in our little apartment in Huntington Beach. Didn't have a place to do it, so I didn't. Which was an interesting experience, an experiment in seeing how I could do without the daily alignment. I did better than I thought I would. Then, let's see, that was about middle of March, maybe the start of April, May, June, July, 4 months. So feels like maybe I've got the dates a little bit wrong. So I thought I'd start it up again here in my little tiny home here in the desert. See if I can do this again. I'll do it while I make my coffee. I've got this little look at this. Isn't this cool? It's a little coffee drip maker thinger. And there's you can see Rudy asleep over there on the floor. All right. The Good Life meditation is an exercise that I do each and every day, a little bit after waking up, or I used to do each and every day. And it's now about 4:20 a.m. I can't tell the time. I usually wake up at 4 a.m. I do this to remember my life objectives and principles. Those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which I usually point to, but I don't have a copy. I can't even refer to the principles and objectives when I go through them, and it's been so long since I've recited them, I don't know that I can recall them. This might be interesting. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met. I planned for the coming day, and I ready myself for, wait a minute, I planned for the coming day. Something more I used to say. Ready for myself for death? It doesn't feel like it. I used to not be able to drink my coffee when I did this because I had the microphone and it would slurp. So, sans microphone this morning so I can make my coffee. All right. Let's get into it. Yesterday and last night. Yesterday was Sunday. I had the day off, and I had finished all of my chores and responsibilities, my shopping and cleaning on Saturday. So I was all caught up on that. But I did need to drive to Moreno Valley to visit my brother. And I got to drive. I didn't have to. It was nice to see him and the family. I saw them on Saturday too. I'm a little forays away from the wilderness here, which I expect will be less and less as I settle into my new routine here, my new life. Especially after Ollie, who's asleep over there, goes back to Japan next month. Then things will really change. Both Rudy and I we don't have much need to get out. This 5-acre piece of land I'm living on right now in the wilderness is plenty for the two of us. So he says. It was a good day yesterday. I did a lot. I sat here and at my computer desk over there, which I think you can see. You can see the chair. And I modeled, continued working on the modeling of my exit. So, I don't think I've ever really told people why I stayed behind in America. Well, my family went to Japan. And there was a reason. There is a reason. 3, I think. One is the dogs. So anybody that doesn't know, I should probably fill in the story a little bit. I'm 60 years old. My wife turned 60 yesterday, so I did send her nice birthday greetings, of course. My daughter even went down from Tokyo to visit her, to wish her happy birthday. That was nice of Emily to do. We've been spending the last 10 years of our life here in the United States, California, raising our daughter Emily to adulthood, finishing her college. She graduated this year, just a few months ago in May, and probably, and then after and my wife, so here's the thing. Everything happened. 2024 is a consequential year for us. Not to mention the fact that it's the year of the dragon and the three of us are dragons. My wife, Yumiko, our daughter, Emily. Both Yumiko and I are now 60. Emily is soon to be 24. We came to America for a number of reasons, one of which was to see our daughter to adulthood. That has happened. With that complete, Yumiko and I decided to return to Japan to retire. So Yumiko retired in April, and Emily graduated in May, and the two of them left on May 23rd. I went back to Japan. I remained behind with the two dogs. So Emily goes off to Tokyo to start her new life, get an apartment. She's already got a job. Off she goes, as they do. Yumiko went down to Shizuoka City in Shizuoka Prefecture, down by Mount Fuji, where she grew up and where we raised Emily from her small years until she was 14, to get a house for us and to get things to establish a homestead, so to speak. Then I stayed behind here in the United States for, like I said, 3 reasons. I think there were 3. At least 2. First reason was the 2 dogs. They're coming with us to Japan, but they won't be ready per Japanese customs regulations. They won't be ready to fly until September 16th is as soon as that they can fly. So Ollie, the black dog, which you can't see, well, you can just barely see. It looks like he's behind the pillow. You can just see a little bit of him poking up right there. See that little bit of black bag? He's hiding under the covers of the bed. He's going to go to Japan early. Early isn't the right word. It is early. Originally, the plan was that both dogs would stay with me. I would fly over to Japan in December, and both dogs would stay with me. But Ollie's been suffering some separation anxiety from my wife, so we've decided to send him early. So that's under control pretty much now. Took him to the vet, got him some tranquilizer medicine to kind of mellow him out, and he's doing much better. I'm getting out and taking him out almost daily. We ride to get in the car after work, and I drive the 2 dogs to I can't think of what better to call it. It's a small community school and community center called Warner Springs. There's usually never anybody there, just wild turkeys. And we go for a long walk. Sometimes I take them out to Julian, a little mountain community, and sometimes I take them to Idlewild. But we socialize with the dogs, mainly for him, because I want him to try to help him with his anxiety. Anyway, so he's going to go in 52 days exactly from now. Rudy will stay with me until the end of the year. The second reason that I stayed behind was to manage our debt. I would have liked to have said, probably a month ago, I would have said to pay off our debt, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that by December. This move has proven so costly. I would venture to say, I know that the move in 2014-15, that time frame, there was a 14-month period that we did the same thing, and the family moved over from Japan to here. That we did the same thing. I came over first, got everything established, and then brought my family over. That move cost us roughly $50,000. I totaled it up, just to move, just to transfer. This move going back to Japan, all in, it's looking like it's about $70,000 to move, and that's not moving furniture. We're not taking any household goods with us. That's just all the costs related to everything, involved with everything. It's astonishing how expensive it is. So that plus my daughter's college debt. When we raised her, I saved money into a college fund during the good years, and it turned out it only lasted for about the first half of her, well, not even that, education. So I flipped the bill for the rest and got loans to cover the rest of her education, and I wanted to pay that off. So, but with all of these extra costs, it's just not going to be possible. So I have two options. So that was the second reason why I stayed behind. I swear to gosh, there was a third reason. Oh yeah, my work. I wanted to fulfill my commitment to work. I wanted to complete my projects. But it looks like that's already been done. I finished my last project a month and a half ago. So ostensibly I fulfilled that commitment. I could leave anytime relative to work. I mean, they're going to give me more. I actually asked for more projects. They since they knew I was retiring, since I had told them I was retiring, they didn't give me anything. They didn't plan anything new for me. So, but I asked them 2 weeks ago to, I'd like to have more. I'd like to keep busy. So I've got some new projects, but I should go. It's something that they don't expect me to. What I'm mumbling on about is that usually as an IT project manager, I get big projects that go for a year or more. And it didn't make sense for them to give me a project that would be for a year when I'm leaving in 4.5 months. So they've given me stuff that I can work on that's relative to that. So that works. That's the third reason. So as a result, I've been alone here. Not the whole time. I was alone for 2 months at the Huntington Beach apartment until I moved out here literally to the wilderness. You doubt it? Yeah, let's take a look. It's like I said, about 4:20 a.m. That's the night out there. It's dark. I don't know if you can see some stars in there. No, I don't think so. This is the wild. It's the Anza Borrego Desert. Rattlesnakes and scorpions and tarantulas and all kinds of stuff. And there's little Rudy. Anyway, back to it. So I moved out here a month and a week ago, 5 weeks ago. I had this plan that I was going to move all around California with the dogs, 1 month at a time. Stay at an Airbnb. This is an Airbnb one at a time. But I decided not to do that because of the stress that it was causing Ollie. Now, once he's gone and he's moved over to Japan, Rudy and I could do that. Rudy didn't care. But I don't think so. I think I'm going to stay here. I like it here. I'm finding interesting things happening in the mind. I'm having interesting experiences out here. Heavy duty experiences. Kind of stuff that makes you have to sit down and think. I don't talk about any of it. I've gone pretty much radio silent since my wife left. Just, a few little posts here and there on social media, almost nothing on YouTube. I was making these little YouTube shorts from my old softypapa days in Japan, trying to, prime the pump for my return, but I even stopped doing that. Mostly, I'm just living. I'm just pressing through this challenging period. Challenging is a relative thing. That's pretty much where I am. And I'll just add, it's been mostly challenging. If I knew what this was going to be like, I probably would have tried to find a way to go with my wife. I'm not built for this. Well, I used to be built for this. Like the 14 months that I spent alone here in the United States, which was really hard. You know, look at my old back videos. I've got a whole playlist called The Return to the USA, and I've got videos in there. But that was really, really tough life challenges. But mentally, it wasn't a challenge for me. I didn't feel alone, and I felt engaged. I felt like a middle-aged man in his prime, trying to demonstrate his prime, trying to fulfill his responsibilities, and with no time or free cycles of thought left for any other nonsense. Things are different now. My daughter is grown. She's graduated. She's on her own. My career is essentially finished. I could retire right now. I mean, you know, the difference that it's going to make in terms of my long-term benefits if I stay another 4.5 months is trivial. The main reason I want to stay behind is to tackle the debt. I have given up on the idea that I'm going to go to Japan without debt. I would like to get rid of it as much as possible, and I'll be able to tackle it from there. It will, but it'd be nice to go without it. It's kind of like a goal that I'd like to happen. Increasingly, I'm realizing I can't do it. The point is that if I could not, that's interesting. If I could not experience this, would. I have a feeling this is going to be a rich and fruitful experience, even though I'm not recording any of it, except I'm starting to now. It's going to be a rich and fruitful experience in the years to come. I have a feeling when I get back to Japan and I become softypapa again, and I go out to Shimizu on a summer evening, maybe a festival in the distance, and I know where to sit by the river to sip a beer by the river, listening to the festival in the distance, the music, and reflect. These silent days, these alone days, these days of thought that are happening here now, the things that I'm experiencing that I'm not telling anybody about yet, I don't even want to say the words. I'll save that stuff for later. It's going to be important. It's going to be important touchstone, milestone experience, just like so many other things. This is an important time for me. It's a way to distill out some of what is in my book, Going Alone. Yeah. All right, enough preamble. Let's do the good life meditation. So usually what I do with this meditation is when I think, I can't remember, it's been so long since I've done it. I remember yesterday and today. I think about last night and yesterday, about the challenges and opportunities that I met. I think I talked enough about that. There weren't any particular challenges or opportunities. Oh, there was one. It was this morning, actually. I was panicking a little bit, trying to think about, how to pay off the debt. Because I get that way. I have no reason to panic, but I do get that way. I panic a little bit sometimes. What am I going to do about this? Yeah, the other thing. And then I stopped myself and collected my thoughts and realized I can sit on my spreadsheet. I've got hours still before I start work. I'll sit on my spreadsheet and tinker with the spreadsheet until I get it right. My spreadsheets prove accurate. I mean, I've got this really awesome spreadsheet that I've been working on for 2 years. It's the Return to Japan spreadsheet. It's got all the variables. It's like a console for everything related to our move, the retirement plan, the buy a place in Japan, buy a house in Japan plan, the budget in Japan, budget in America, and all the formulas collect in, and they show out, and there's a timeline that goes out all the way out to 2026. So it's really fun to tinker with that and to get it right. And so far, it's proven just right. So that's what I'll do. That's how I handled that yesterday. There was another incident yesterday as well. This is kind of horrifying. So I told you I take the dogs to this community center in Warner Springs. There's a school there, and they've got a field out there, football field, like a thing. And the squirrels are everywhere. And squirrels dig holes in the field. And I noticed yesterday when I took the dogs there, we were just walking, that there's these little like flat squirrel traps. They're like little cages, and they're the type of thing like a lobster trap, but for squirrels. You know, insofar as you can go in, the animal can go in through a little trap that's got a door that lifts up, the animal goes through and closes behind it, and then they're trapped inside. And I had noticed 2 traps on either side of the field with 2 or 3 squirrels in each one, you know, just sitting there peeking out at you. And squirrels everywhere. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So clearly they're catching the squirrels. In my mind, I finished the story and said they're catching the squirrels and I'm going to remove them, you know, maybe out into the fields for let them go. That's how I pictured that would end. And off I went with the dogs. That was 2 days ago. Yesterday, when I went back, I was walking with the dogs on a separate part of the grounds over by the school, and I noticed a similar trap like that, but that was a scene of horror. That was there were 3 squirrels, and they're dead squirrels that had clearly never been retrieved and had died in the trap of exposure. That was a horrifying scene for a sensitive soul like me. I think it would be a horrifying scene for anybody. Reminded me of the gibbet, the medieval form of execution, right? Medieval, I don't know. You know, that's what they do with pirates, right? Isn't that how Billy the Kid or one of those pirates wound up? You know, a little cage you put the human in until they die, or their corpse until the corpse disappears. Anyway, enough of that. It was horrifying to see, and I realized, oh my gosh, maybe that's what's the fate that awaits those other squirrels. And I realized, and immediately my mind went to, there must be some horrifying groundskeeper there that's putting these traps out and just letting the squirrels die of exposure. So here's the part that I had to utilize my principles, right? I had to ask myself, you know, according to my creed. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, I've written a book called Going Alone. I don't have a copy, but I'll get a copy. And it deals with my ideas about how the best way to live. And there's a section in there called The Good Life, and it's a creed that I created, composed of 8 objectives and 35 principles that I use to guide me. So I immediately turned, when I was faced with this horrifying scene, literally had to stop in my tracks, because I was thinking about the squirrels in the cage over there. I was thinking about 2 things. I was thinking about the monster of a human that would leave the squirrels out to die of exposure like that, for lack of a better term, monster. And then I was thinking about the squirrels that were in the trap immediately, because I'd seen them yesterday. And I continued my walk. There's nothing to be done with the dead squirrels. Continued my walk. And what am I going to do? And I asked myself, relative to my principles and objectives, which is mainly the improvement of virtue is the aim I'm after, which I define as the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures mostly. And I decided that I would go over to those traps and see if there was something I could do to liberate those squirrels from that trap. I don't know, and I still don't know how to tackle the larger problem of anybody that might be doing this to the squirrels. But I put the dogs in the car with the car running, the air conditioner, going, and I walked down to the field and walked over to where I saw the traps, and I was resolved to try to find a way to open them and let the squirrels out. And that doesn't solve the larger problem of the person who's doing this, but it would solve that immediate problem. And to my relief, the squirrels were gone. Now, I don't know what happened to them. Maybe they were dispatched. Maybe they were released as my innocent mind had kind of hoped. But they were not there. Can you hear the dogs howling? I'm not completely alone in the world out here. These are 5, 10, 20 acre ranches. So I'm on a 5 acre ranch here. So there are adjoining ranches and packs of dogs that wander. Of course, there's coyotes too. Can you hear them? Oh, those are coyotes. dogs and coyotes. Okay. So that's what I did with the. So they were gone. So I didn't need to intervene. Now, rodents like that, I guess that are squirrels, rodents, I don't know. They need to be managed, I guess, in some way. So I guess that's to be expected. So I chose to kind of just dismiss the other one. I don't know what was going on with the other trap with the dead ones in there. I'll go back there. I'll think about it. I don't know. But I kind of just put a pin in that for a moment. Anyway, that was another example of me coming across a challenging situation and referring to my principles and objectives to ask myself what to do. And I literally thought about the suffering of the squirrels and decided that rather that I would intervene. Maybe it was illegal to trespass and do that. I didn't have to, but I chose to do that. That was the resolution that came as a result of my principles and objectives. And I did the Good Life Creed, the Good Life Meditation for at least 3 years daily. And that, it's interesting, it's been months since I've done it actively. That seems to have had a solidifying impact on my brain. Because when I was doing that every day, I got to the point that it was almost automatic to live according to the principles and objectives. And even though it's been months now since I've actively recited them, it seemed that hasn't changed. I seem to be now on an autopilot where I'm utilizing them. So what do they say about 1,000 hours? Is 1,000 hours of practicing something to make it yours? It seems that the 1,000 hours of first building the Good Life Creed and then rehearsing it seems to have done the job. But I'm going to try now to get back to the reciting of it and also the speaking, the talking about what each one of them. Remember how I used to do that? I would say them and then I would talk about what it was and then go on. I'm going to try to do that again. I don't think I'm going to get very far today though, because I think I can remember the objectives, but I don't think I can remember the principles in their order without reference of some sort. So let's go ahead and do that. So there are 8 objectives, and these are as follows. And I'm just going to try to list them today. I won't go into detail. I'll start that tomorrow. 1, to be always ready to die. 2, to make good and effective use of my time. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions. 5, to perform good actions. 6, to recognize my true limits and true opportunities. 7, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And then 8, to maintain my balance in all things. Now there's 35 principles. The principles are the tools that I use, the actionable items that I use, the things that help me make decisions, the guidance that I use along the way with the to fulfill the objectives. So the objectives are the goals, the principles align me towards those goals. And those 35 are, I know I'm not going to get very far. Let's see if I can even get to 10. I don't even think I can get that far. I'll probably stop, blow it around 7. Here we go. I'm just going to say it in quick order. I wonder if I can pull it out of the neural pathways up there. War, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity, social principle, public speaking. I made it to 12. It's gone. I need the book. I need some sort of reference. And now a rooster is growing. So anyway, I'll get a copy of Going Alone. I'll order it and have it shipped here. The owners of this property have allowed me to use their P.O. box. So I have ways of getting things now. Okay, now what I do is, the last thing that I do is I prepare for the coming day. So today's a Monday. That's probably closing in on 5 a.m. right now. I've got an hour and a half before I start work. I'll finish this, upload this, feed my dogs, feed myself, and get started for work. I have my existing project. I'm currently assigned to an agency, 100% while I was working on a project. Like I said, that project is finished. I'm now wrapping that project up and laying in the groundwork for a phase 2 of that project, which I'll hand off to somebody else when I leave. I've also, like I said, I asked work to give me more work. I need stuff to keep me busy in this little place. Are you nuts, Kurt? I could have, if I wanted to, just coasted for 4.5 months. But I'm not that kind of guy. I need, it's again, back to my principles. One of the things that's important to me is that I need to feel like I'm living a virtuous life. And virtue does not, for me, come of empty hours getting paid. It comes from giving my employer a good value for the time that they're paying me. So I struggle with it a little bit. I was like, Kurt, you got a sweet spot here. They've kind of forgotten about you. You could just 4.5 months, you could just coast right through the end. No. I went to my boss and said, boss, I need more work. Give me something to do. And they did. And it's a good challenge. So I'm going to start spinning up for those 2 things. So they gave me 2 projects, they gave me 1, but I kind of grabbed another one on my own. Am I nuts? So I'll work on those 3 things throughout the day and throughout the week. It's a 4-day week for me. I've got this coming Friday off, as I do every other Friday. I'll fill the day with, I'm getting a lot of exercise out here too. It's like I said, it's a 5-acre ranch. And there's trails that run through it. And it's about 1,000 steps to around the course of it's beautiful too. It's really a beautiful place. It's about 1,000 steps. So I've picked up those stones. Beautiful. I mean, this is like gold country, right? So little quartz stones and stuff like that. And I've got a bench out front, and I walk. I take my shirt off. I slather up with sun lotion at night, and throughout the day I get 2 20-minute breaks, morning and afternoon. I got my 30-minute lunch, and I use that time, and in the evening as well. And I got my big floppy hack. I stripped down to just my shorts, my hiking boots, my hat. Everything's exposed, and I trudge on the trail 1,000 steps, come back, and then I do push-ups and these things, stretching exercises. I'm getting in good shape. Versus at the beach where I did the beach swim every day. It was a different type of a thing. This is a very different type of exercise. And I got my podcast. I get the phone and I listen to my podcast. There's nobody around, so I just listen to it as I'm walking. And I see quail and bunny rabbits and tarantulas and this is an interesting place to live. And after Ollie's gone, I'm gonna get a carrier for Rudy. He doesn't walk. And I'll carry a Rudy on my back, and he and I will leave this is a gated property. There's a big lock on it. I'll go out the gate, and Rudy and I will begin exploring the deeper into the wilderness. This is the Beauty Mountain and the Beauty Wilderness to the north of us. I'm trying to see if I can find trails into that. What else? I think that's it. I think I can stop now. 33 minutes. I wonder if I've got enough bandwidth out here. I've got a little satellite dish to upload this. Let's try. I'll be doing this every day now. Back to my routine. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.